on our mats today. So, anywhere on your mat to start, I'm going to start up at the top. Let's start up at the top. So, first, let's just bring your feet hip distance apart. You can close down your eyes if that feels good in your body right now, coming into this mountain pose. Just start to take some deep breaths. Focus on where your weight is in your feet. Maybe rock back and forth from the balls of your feet to your heels. Maybe a little bit from side to side. And try to focus on making your exhales just a little bit longer than your inhales. Take one more breath. Then you can start to flicker the eyes open. We're going to inhale, bring the arms up overhead, look up. And exhale, moving really slowly, just round out the back, vertebrae by vertebrae, come all the way down into a forward fold. Keep a really big, generous bend at the knees. Once you get into your fold, shake your head a couple times, yes and no. Make sure that there's no tension in the neck. And then on your next breath in, start to roll the spine all the way back up to standing. Slowly rolling up and down. You can match movement to breath. We're going to go back and forth like this a few times. So just roll the spine down again. And back up. You can bring your arms overhead if you want to, or you can leave them down by your sides if it feels good to just roll up and down with the spine. One more time like this. Come all the way back to stand. On your next inhale, reach the arms back up. Come up onto the tippy toes, stretch, reach. And on the exhale, bring the right arm over the left, come into your forward fold, and just give yourself a hug. Inhale, come back up, arms go overhead. And exhale, switch that. So the left arm's over top, come into your fold and hug. All the way back up on the inhale. And we're just going to keep rotating like this. So whichever arm you started with is on top now. And just keep alternating which arm is going on top as you come into your fold, crossing your arms to the front of your body. Let's go 2 more times. Inhale, look up. Exhale, come all the way down. Hug it out. The next time you come into your fold with your left arm on top, just release the arms down to the mat. The backs of the hands can come all the way down. And just pedal out through the feet a little bit. So play a little bit with straightening one leg a little more than the other. Just kind of send the hips a bit from side to side, back and forth. Stretching out through the hamstrings, just waking them up. And then inhale, bring the fingertips up to the shins, create a flat spine. Exhale, fold all the way forward again. Take a couple breaths here. Let's grab onto opposite elbows. Just start to sway a little bit from side to side. Release the hands, roll the spine all the way back up. Inhale, bring the arms up overhead, look up. Exhale, fold forward. Bring the hands to the shins, come up halfway. And then bring the hands all the way down to your mat on the exhale. Just walk the feet back until you can bring your knees down, and we'll land in this tabletop position. From here in our tabletop, we're going to send the right foot all the way out to the side. And then we're going to move through our cat-cow. So this will be a bit of a different sensation. You'll probably feel this a little bit in the adductor, the inside of that right leg. So on the inhale, bring the chin up and the tailbone. Exhale, round out the back, push it towards the ceiling. 2 more times like that. Follow your breath and speed. And then start to make your way back into a neutral spine. We're going to bring the right hand into the center of the chest on the mat. Your right foot is still going out to the side. Inhale the left arm up as much as you can, coming into a twist. And on the exhale, loop that left arm through the right. This can be what it is, or you can bring your head down to the mat if you want more of a stretch. But let's continue movement here. So on your inhales, bring the left arm up. And on the exhales, loop it through. 2 more times. Inhale the left arm up. And exhale, bring that left hand down. Replace the right hand in the center. We're going to go the other way. So this way is going to feel a lot harder. So if it's too much on your back, or if it's heading into your lower back, just come into a child's pose, or you can carry on with the other side like we were just doing. But this, I want to kind of isolate the lower back a little bit so that we can try to get the twist into the upper spine. So with our left hand down, inhale, bring the right arm up, and then loop it through. Inhale, come up. So one side for you is definitely going to be more tight than the other. So just be gentler on whatever side that might be for you. On the exhales, for me on this one, I get a really big pull in that abductor. So last one here. Inhale the right arm up, and then bring it back down beside the left. We're going to take this right foot back behind us, tuck the toes under, and just push through the hands. You're getting a gentle calf stretch in that right calf. Take a breath here. And then take the left toes back beside the right, so you're in a plank now. Hold here for a breath, feel the core starting to turn on. And then send the hips all the way up into the air with your next inhale. You can keep a big bend at the knees still if this feels really tight in the hamstrings, but just pedal out the calves a few times. Here in our first downward dog, pedal out the feet as much as you need until you feel like you can find some stillness, and then take 2 breaths. Roll the spine all the way forward, bring the knees back down. We're going to lower all the way to the front of the body. Bring your hands just slightly out in front. On your next inhale, loop the shoulders up and back, come into cobra. And exhale, release, bring that back down. Inhale, loop the shoulders back, come all the way up. Exhale, release. One more time like that. Come up, pull through the finger cuts. And release, bring it back down. Bring the hands back under the shoulders. Push up into your tabletop position. And then take the left foot all the way out to the side. We're going to do reverse breath cat-cow. So that means on your inhale this time, you're going to round out the back. come into your cat. And on the exhale, the chin comes up and the tailbone into your cow. Go 2 more times like that. You might find that you get a little bit deeper into your cat with that inhale. Last one. Start to make your way back to a neutral spine. We're going to bring the left hand down into the center of the chest. Inhale the right arm up. And exhale, loop it through. Continuing like this, bringing the right arm up on your inhales and through on the exhales, following your own breath, your own speed, whatever feels good in your body. Don't go too far. Last one, right arm goes up, and then bring the right hand down, replace the left hand there, and the left hand comes up on the inhale. And loop it through. Last time, bring the left arm up. Bring the left hand back down beside the right. Take the left leg back behind you, tuck the toes under, and push through the hands so you can stretch out that calf. Tuck the right toes now, take them all the way back. We're in plank. Hold here for a breath. And then send the hips all the way up, come into your downward dog. Pedal out the feet. Once you've got the wiggles out, find some stillness, take 2 breaths. Start to roll the spine forward, bring the knees back down. Sit back onto the heels. We've done this in class before, but it's one of my favorites. We're going to bring the backs of the hands down. Lean back just enough so you can start to stretch out the forearms. You don't get any love in most people's routines or yoga practices, so this is probably really tender. Just take a few deep breaths. One more. And then release, roll out the wrists a couple times. Come forward again onto the hands, tuck the toes, push back through the hands to stretch out the feet. Come back into your tabletop, untuck the toes now. We're going to come into this tall kneeling position. We're going to go through our shoulder cars and then some hip cars, all of the rotations, just making sure that everything starts to feel lubricated in the body. So we're going to start with our left arm. Here in our tall kneeling position, you're going to reach the left arm all the way up, thumbs pointing back, switch the way the thumb is pointing, and then come all the way back behind you. Try to keep the hips facing forward. Go 2 more times going this direction. And then switch directions, go 3 times the other way. Try to go a little bit slower than you want to. One of my favorite parts of yoga is just how often our hands are overhead, because I feel like it's not a motion that we do in our day-to-day life. Switch arms if you haven't already. You might notice that one shoulder cracks a lot more than the other. That's my situation right now. Lots of cracking on this side. 3 times in one direction, then switch 3 times in the other. Once you've done your 6 rotations on each side, just shake out the arms a little bit. Come back down onto your hands. We're gonna go through our hip bars now. So let's start with the right leg. So flex the right foot, take it up behind you in the air. Take the knee out to the side, bring it up and in. So you're making big circles with that knee. Same thing we did with the shoulders. We'll go 3 times in this direction. And then switch, bring the knee up, out, back, and in that big circle. Switch sides whenever you're ready. Same thing goes here, you're trying to keep your hips square to the mat, which is hard to do, I find. Some sticky core work as well. Last one. Bring that knee back down to the mat. Bring the knees just a little bit wide. Sit the hips all the way back, come into your child's pose. Reach the hands forward. And let's right away take our hands over to the right. So we're stretching through the left lat, the left side of the body. You can bring the forehead back down. And just take a few breaths. Start to walk the hands through center, bring them all the way over to the left. You can pull through that right hand, get a bigger stretch through the right lat, the right side. Bring the forehead back down. Good, okay, let's bring the hands into center. Come back up into tabletop. Bring the knees closer together and then tuck the toes under. We're gonna come back into our downward facing dog. Pedal at the feet. Take a deep breath. Let's start to walk the hands back to your feet. So you're in a forward fold at the back of your mat. And then walk them back out until you're in plank. We're gonna do this inchworm motion 3 more times. So just keep walking your hands back to your toes and then out into your plank. Hold for a breath in your plank and then do it all over again 2 more times. Last one. The next time you're out in your plank, send the hips back up for your downward dog. Bring the feet a little bit closer together, and we're gonna take that right foot up into the air behind you. You can keep your hips square if that feels good, or you can open up the hips to the side wall, bend the knee, try to keep equal pressure in your hands. And take a breath. Shift forward on your next inhale. Try to bring your knee as close as you can to your nose. Round up the spine. And then on the exhale, send that foot back into the air behind you. Inhale, come forward, step the right foot between the hands at the top of the mat. Let's bring the back knee all the way down, untuck the toes. Bring the arms up overhead for low lunge. Take a breath. And then this is gonna be a really intense hip stretch, so if this is too much, you can stay here, come back to this position, or if you want to add in another twist instead of going into, we're moving into lizard, if you know what lizard is. If you want to do a twist instead, you can bring your hands together, bring the left elbow to the right knee and start to twist towards the right. But if you want to go into lizard, you're going to bring both hands to the inside of this right foot, heel toe the right foot to the outer edge of your mat, and just let the right knee come open to the side. So it's a really big stretch in both hips. And you can stay up on your hands. If you're super duper flexible, you can come down to your elbows. And this is going to be a little bit more intense for those of you that are looking for that out of today's practice. There's lots of variation and lots of options here as well. If you want to rock back and forth a little bit, if staying still doesn't feel that comfortable in your body today. Or you can bring your left hand closer into center, your right hand to your right knee, and you can use that as a bit of leverage to open your chest up to the side wall, creating a bit of a twist here. Or you could bend the left knee, just giving you all the options here, choose your own adventure. You can start to bend the left knee, grab onto that left foot with the right hand. So now you're twisting and introducing a quad stretch. So whatever feels best for you. If none of these things feel good, come into a child's pose or shavasana or whatever else your body's asking for. That is the beauty of doing yoga in your own home. You can do whatever you want. We're going to take 3 more breaths wherever you are in this pose right now. And then you can start to make your way back to this low lunge position. So heel toe that right foot back closer into center. And we're just going to rock back and forth a few times. Forward into the hip, coming back, stretching out the hamstring, the front of this ankle. 2 more times. And the next time you rock forward, bring both hands down, tuck the back toes, pick up that knee, and then just take that right foot back beside the left. So we're in plank here again. Hold your plank for a breath. And then take the hips all the way up into your downward dog, pedal up the feet. Bring the feet a little closer together. We're going to take that left foot up into the air behind you. Whatever you did on the other side is great. So if you want to open the hips, if you want to square the hips, whatever feels better for you. The next time you inhale, rock forward. Try to bring that knee as close as you can to the nose. And exhale, send the foot back up into the air. Inhale, rock forward, place the left foot between the hands at the top of the mat. Bring the right knee down, untuck the toes, lift up into your low lunge. Take a breath here. Okay, now, here's all your options. You can bring your hands into prayer, right elbow to left knee, twist towards the left. You can bring both hands to the inside of that left foot, heel toe the left foot to the outer edge of the mat, let the left knee come out to the side a little. This is our lizard pose, where you can be up on your hands or down on your elbows. And any of those things is fine so far if you want to stay in any of those. Or you can bring the right hand closer into center. Left hand comes to left knee. Open up the chest towards the side. And then if you're here in this twist and you want to introduce that quad stretch, that would be your next step. Wherever you are, just focus on your breathing. And if your breath ever becomes interrupted or strained, that's when you know that you've gone too far, your body doesn't like what's happening. So just ease off a little bit for today. Take 3 more breaths, wherever you are. And then you can start to release the back foot down if you were in the quad stretch. We'll start to heel toe that right foot closer into center, just rock back and forth a few times. The next time you rock forward, bring both hands down, pick up that back knee, send the left foot beside the right, you're in plank. And then take the hips all the way up and back into your downward dog. Take a breath here. And then start to tiptoe the feet to the top of the mat, fold forward when you get there. On your next inhale, roll the spine up to stand. Take a breath when you get to standing. Inhale, bring the arms up overhead. And exhale, fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, bring the hands to your mat. Take the right foot all the way back behind you and bring it to the side. Cartwheel the arms up until you're in your warrior 2. So the heel of the front foot is in line with the arch of the back foot. You can look down, double check. I actually have lines drawn on my yoga mat that we had in teacher training so that you always knew that your heel was in proper alignment with your arch. This is what's healthiest for your knees and your hips. So once you feel steady here, take 2 breaths. You can start to straighten that front leg a little bit. Bring the hand down to the shin or all the way down to your mat if you're super flexible. Inhale the right arm up, come into your triangle pose. And then on your next breath, use your core, come through warrior 2 into exalted warrior. So your left hand goes up and over. You're looking towards the left hand, stretching out through the left side of the body. Come back into your warrior 2 on your next breath. And then start to straighten that front leg again. Point the left toes the same direction as the right, so you're standing long on your mat. I'm gonna face this way, I feel like you can see me a little better. So you're facing long. From here, you can point your toes out a little bit if you want to, like your feet can be out at a 45 instead of pointing straight forward, but whatever feels best in your body. You're gonna interlace your fingers out in front of you as if you were holding a giant beach ball. And then from here, we're gonna try and tuck the pelvis under, tuck the tailbone under, and just sit down slowly and come all the way back up. Feels a little bit like you're doing like a plie or something in ballet. Not that I've ever done ballet before, but this is what I would imagine it would feel like. Really fires up through the glutes here. But we're still doing our slow motions. So we don't necessarily want this to feel like super power yoga or anything like that, but make it feel slow and controlled, like you are sliding between two panes of glass. Let's go 2 more times. Last one. Come all the way back up, and then I'm actually facing the other way with you guys. We're gonna point the left toes facing forward again, sink back into your warrior 2. Take a breath, and then start to cartwheel the hands to frame the left foot. Take the left foot back beside the right. You can move through a vinyasa of your choice, so you can bring your knees down, lower all the way and come into your cobra, or you can do a chaturanga push-up, which is essentially a push-up where your elbows stay in nice and close by your sides, and then you rock forward into an upward facing dog. We're all gonna meet in downward dog, whichever vinyasa you choose to do. Take 2 breaths in your down dog. And then walk the feet to the top of the mat, fold forward. Take a big breath here in your fold. And then inhale, roll the spine up to stand. Big exhale at the top. Inhale, bring the arms up overhead, look up. Exhale, fold. Come up halfway on the inhale. Bring the hands to your mat on the exhale. Take the left foot back and to the side. So we're coming into warrior 2 on the other side. Sink down into it. Plug the shoulders into the back. You're gazing just over your fingertips with the right hand. And take 2 breaths. Start to straighten that front leg just a little. You can keep a micro bend in this front knee. Grab onto the shin, inhale the left arm up, triangle pose. And then use the core, come through your warrior 2. Right arm goes up overhead, exalted warrior. Or reverse warrior. Either one, whatever you like to call it. Come back to your warrior 2. Take a breath. Start to straighten that front leg. Point the right toes the same direction as the left. Standing wide on our mats again. You can heel toe your feet in a little bit closer together if you feel like they're super wide. We're going to interlace the hands behind you. Pull the hands down to open up the chest. And you can stay here, that's great. Or you can start to hinge at the hips, fold forward. Let gravity take your hands all the way down. So it's even more of a chest opener, opening all the way up through the collarbones. And just take a breath here. I'm going to give you some options here as well. I always want to make sure that things are feeling good for you, and for some people this doesn't feel good. So if this isn't feeling great, you can release the hands, bring them out in front, and we can do another side body stretch instead. So here in our wide-legged forward fold, you could bring your hands closer towards that right foot, pull through the left finger pad so you get a big stretch in the left lat. And then take a couple breaths there and switch sides whenever you're ready, whenever you feel like it. You can start to make your way back into center, whichever pose you're in. Bring the hands to the hips, hinge back up. Point the right toes forward, sink back into your warrior two. Take a breath here. And I always encourage people, if you are in a pose that feels really good, you want to stay there longer, stay there longer. You will catch up. You're not going to miss anything too crazy. Start to cartwheel the hands, frame the right foot. Take the right foot back beside the left, hold your plank for a breath. And then bring the knees down, sit back all the way into child's pose. This time let's bring the hands down by your sides. Give a little bit more space for the neck. Bring your forehead down. And just rock your head back and forth a few times. Take one more breath. And then start to reach your hands forward again. Come up into your tabletop. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips, downward dog. Start to walk the feet to the top of your mat, fold forward when you get there. Inhale, come up to stand. And when you get to standing, just close down the eyes, notice where your weight is in your feet. We're going to do a little bit of balance work next. Let's take one more breath before we start to move on. Start to open up the eyes. Bring all of your weight into your right foot. Start to hover the left foot up off the ground. And bring that left foot to your shin or up into the thigh, wherever you like to go for tree. You just want to avoid pushing the knee out to the side. So avoiding the knee wherever you want to go for tree. You can bring your hands into heart center, up overhead, out to the sides, whatever feels good for you here. Feel the foot and the ankle, trying to gain some stability. It's so important to work on balance work as we age. There's crystallization that happens in the inner ear as we get older, and so yoga is really great for continuing to work on our balance, but also for having our head underneath our heart, which can help to break some of that up a little bit. Take another breath. And then with control, release that left knee, bring it into the center of your chest. Kick the left foot out, hold here, bring the arms overhead. Take a breath. And then send that left foot all the way back behind you, come into your airplane pose. Blah, blah. Try to square the hips to the mat. And your arms can be down by your sides or up so your biceps are by your ears, or you can make this snow angel motion, which we sometimes do when we're lying on our bellies, but it's really good for shoulder strength. So if you want to do a few of those while you're here, it might take your mind off how hard your right leg is working at the moment. Start to bring the hands back into the center. Shift forward until that left knee comes back into the center of the chest. Interlace the fingers, grab onto the left shin, pull it in. And then bring the left foot down beside the right. Just shake out the legs a little bit. Kick them around a few times. And then come back to standing. Let's close down the eyes. Notice the way that your body feels. See if there's a difference in the right side and the left. In your foot and your ankle. Notice where your weight's going in your feet. Take a breath here. Start to open up the eyes. Let's move on to the other side. So bring your weight into your left foot. Your foot come to your shin or up a little higher for your tree. Whatever you did on the other side. And I always say if tree is just like way too easy for you, if you have really good balance, try to close your eyes. It's definitely not so easy then. Take one more breath. And then start to release that foot. Bring that right knee up into the chest. Send this right foot all the way back behind you, coming into airplane or your warrior three. Whatever you did with your arms on the other side, we'll do that same thing here. Trying to keep the hips square to the ground. Start to bring the hands back in. Tilt forward, bring the knee back up into center, interlace the fingers, pull in with the shin, and then bring that right foot down beside the left, shake out the legs. Close down the eyes one more time. Notice where your weight is. Try to spread your toes as far as you possibly can while we stand. And then just rock back and forth from your toes to your heels. Start to flicker open the eyes. On your next inhale, reach your arms overhead. And on your exhale, fold forward. You can bring the hands down to the mat. Walk the feet all the way back until you're in your downward facing dog. Take the right foot up into the air behind you, and we'll right away shift forward. Bring the right knee just behind the right wrist. Coming into our pigeon pose. So this front leg does not need to be parallel. It can be at a 45 heading off of your mat. That's perfectly fine. And you can come down to your elbows. You can stack one fist on top of the other. Bring your forehead down into sleeping pigeon. We'll just take a few breaths here. Really stretching out that right glute. And as always, if it doesn't feel good to be here in stillness, you can come up onto your hands and just rock back and forth really gently. Let's take one more breath. And then on your inhale, come up onto your hands. Just gonna rock to the right side. So your weight is over on the right glute. Our legs are in this 90-90 position, but you can roll even farther until you're seated. Your left leg is out long. Just pull the right foot in to center. From here, we're gonna bring the left hand to the inside of the left leg, or you can bring it to the left shin, and inhale the right arm up and over. Take one more breath. You can look up towards that right hand or down towards the left, whatever feels better on your neck. Come back into center with the spine. Bring the hands back down, we'll roll back over into our pigeon, but then tuck the back toes, come up into your downward dog. Pedal at the feet, notice the difference in sides. Take 2 breaths. And then we'll start to lift that left foot all the way up behind you. Rock forward, bring the left knee behind the left wrist. Slide the right foot back until you're in pigeon on the other side. You can stay up here on your hands if that feels good, or you can come down to your elbows. Stack the hands, bring your forehead down, sleeping pigeon. We'll be here for a few breaths, so make sure you're comfortable. And that might mean you need a pillow or a bolster or some blocks or some books or something to put underneath the left glute so it doesn't feel like this is a lot of work. This is one of those restorative type poses that should just feel really good and relaxing. And if it doesn't, go to something that does. Such a big part of yoga is figuring out what your own body needs on any given day. My perfect practice is never going to be your perfect practice, so whatever you feel like you need, you can always do that instead. On your next inhale, start to come up to your hands. Roll to the side so your weight is on that left glute all the way over. Bring the left foot in. The right leg is out long. We're going to bring the right hand to the inside of the shin or onto the shin. Inhale the left arm up and over. One more breath. And then bring the hands back, down and in front. Rolling back into that pigeon setup. Tuck the back toes. Lift up into your down dog. Walk the feet to the top of the mat. Cross the ankles when you get there and come down to seated. From here, let's bring the feet together into butterfly. And this is always, this would be a definite good place to have some pillows or something so that you can relax down into this if you have anything nearby. This pose is always harder for men than it is for women, so this might be your pose right here, but if you have things that can bring the ground closer to you, that makes it a little bit better. So you can do one of two things. You can reach the hands forward, lean forward into the hips, or you can tent the fingertips behind you, push up the chest, create a really straight spine, and that is a different kind of stretch for the hips. So whatever feels better in your body right now. Release, start to come back into center, into a neutral spine. Take the legs out long in front of you, just give them a shake. And then bring the feet closer towards your bum. We're going to come all the way down to our backs. You can go slowly if you want to add in a little bit more core into your practice. Or if that is not what you're into right now, just head all the way down. I'm just moving to the side so that you can see me a little bit better as we go through a couple different bridge poses. So, again, we're going to choose your own adventure. This first one, we're going to do a thoracic bridge. So your hips stay on the ground. It's a really gentle back bend. You're going to push through your elbows. You still want your feet to be nice and close. You're just going to push through the elbows until your chest lifts off the ground just slightly. So this is all the poses. Really gentle. You should be able to breathe and talk. And release, come back down. Spine's back on your mat. So you can do that one again. You can come up into your regular bridge, which means your hips are coming up off the mat and your shoulders are rolling under. Or if you are more in the mood for restorative types of things, you can come up into your bridge and then place a block or a bolster or your pillows underneath your sacrum, which is where your waistband would be on your pants. And that helps you get into that back bend without having to do as much work, which is really amazing sometimes. So whatever you're choosing this time around, let's lift up into it. If you're in your regular bridge, push through the elbows, make sure there's no pressure in the neck. Take breaths. Start to roll the hips back down. Bring the knees into the chest, give yourself a squeeze. And we'll do that one more time. Whichever bridge you choose, lift up on your inhale. And start to release. Roll the spine back down until your hips reach the ground. You can hug the knees into your chest, or you can bring your feet a little bit wider, let the knees come in to touch. Bring your hands to your belly. Send your breath there. From here, you can start to take the legs out long and the arms coming into Shavasana, our final resting pose. If there's anything else you feel like you need before you go there, please do that. Or if you like finishing with your legs up the wall, I'm such a big fan of that. So you can do that instead of your Shavasana. Just bring yourself close to a wall, take your legs all the way up. You can do your figure four against the wall as well, and it creates a little bit more resistance and pressure than you pulling your legs towards you. So if that's something that's of interest, you can go there instead. Wherever you are, we're going to be there for a few minutes. So relax down into it. So this is where I'm going to leave you today. I encourage you to stay in your Shavasana or with your legs up the wall for at least a few more minutes. Let this be time for yourself where you're in that parasympathetic nervous system. All the stress has gone away. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your night. Namaste. I'll see you soon.